So why does it seem that every time we look at some aspect of our lives, it seems that everyone around us is doing much better than we do, and we're just stuck at one place, and everyone is making progress, doing their bucket list and creating this better life, and we are just on that one place and we don't know what to do with it. Is it really true, or is it just an illusion, or what it is? I think if you say it loud, it sounds a bit ridiculous to think that everyone is doing better than we do, because the chance of that is literally almost zero. So what's that about? How can I determine that I'm doing better, or how can I distinguish between all those things that seem too good to be true for everyone but me? And I think it has more reasons to it. The first one is that it's basically in our nature that we pay attention to things that we desire the most, and we tend to overlook other things that we already have or we don't want as bad as other things. And it creates this kind of illusion that everyone around me is doing much better than I do. Let me give you an example. Like a few weeks ago, I was at my friend's wedding, and it was an awesome wedding, but during the wedding I just stopped and started thinking about it for a bit. And they had a 10-year relationship before they decided to get married finally, and I'm single. So I thought, wow, to have such a relationship, it would take me 10 years from now to be on that same level. And at first it becomes really upsetting, and I became stressed about it, because of course in 10 years I'll be 35, which is quite old to just think about marriage. But if you think about it twice, will I really be as old as I think I will be? Or do I really need 10 years to have a good relationship that will result in a marriage? Because I don't think that is true. And if I focus on just that one friend and some of our other friends that are married or will probably get married in a year or two, I will probably become really depressed about it, because everyone around me seem to have a good relationship while I don't. But that's not exactly true, because I completely overlook my other friends that are also single as me, or they are struggling in their relationship, so it probably won't result to marriage. And what I think it is the same with everything that we want to achieve in life. We eventually start focusing just on people that already have that, and we start to be jealous and disappointed. It's important to acknowledge that it doesn't make sense to really feel upset even though someone is doing something or has something that we want, because it won't help us on our journey. It will just make us feel upset about things and being discouraged by other people. The second thing I see around myself, and I think it's the same for almost everyone, is that we have this kind of expectations that are formed by our parents or the society itself, that we have to achieve certain milestones in our life, and we try to somehow quantify them. So by that age you should have already achieved something, like let's say education, marriage, first job, kids. And I think it's a bit different for men and women. Men tend to worry about providing for their families and earning enough income, and women tend to be stressed about having kids at certain age and having families. But I think the majority of the people wouldn't be too worried about it if it wasn't for their parents and people around them judging them and telling them, like, when will it happen? And that's the huge problem, because I think no one should tell you what age is perfect for what in your life. And while I understand that we should have some goals and some milestone that we want to achieve in our life, I don't think it should be quantified into numbers, because everyone has a different life, everyone has a different path, and for some people it just takes more time. Some people are just more lucky, and it's completely fine. But it doesn't mean that we are doing worse than them just because they already achieved something. And I think you too shouldn't be too worried about the outcome of your life, because it's the journey that is really important. And if you have some expectations from your life, you should try making changes and steps towards that goal, and not just observing and listening to people about their opinions, because eventually it's just you that is responsible for whatever happens in your life. Of course, there are some conditions and starting point that we really cannot control, but if we cannot control, we can control what we can control. So I would focus on other things than just observing everyone around me and trying to find what they have that I don't have and I would want to have. And I think it will really help you to set some path for yourself and progress eventually and gradually to that goal that you set up. And eventually you will take a look back and you will see how much of a change you accomplished after some time. And if you stop worrying about all those other things, I think it will just boost things and everything will be achieved quicker, because I think the biggest thing that stops everyone from progressing is this feeling of disappointment and the thought about life not being fair. But eventually it's just you and what you do what matters. And next time you feel bad and upset about something, just try to talk to yourself, try to understand that feeling, and try to rationally say to yourself that it's just a feeling and we can control our emotions. And if you control your emotions, you can achieve great things, because then you can control what you do and how you perceive things and how you get things done. So think about it next time you feel upset, and until then, see you again.